Cool. First of all, everybody, thank you for joining us. So let's get started. But first, just a bit about me. My name is John Becker, and I'm Platcore's founder and CEO. And I've been around the ServiceNow platform for quite a while, actually since the V release. So I'm a rookie to some of you that may predate me, but I've been blessed to experience the journey that many of you have been on with ServiceNow. And we've all got to watch that platform mature into something that's truly amazing together. So just a little bit about Platcore. So Platcore is a silver ServiceNow technology partner, and we're focused on creating great products that extend the ServiceNow platform. And our core product, the Platcore LMS, helps companies deliver employee training directly from their ServiceNow platform that many companies already use. So our learning management system built directly into your ServiceNow instance, and here are 3 reasons really why that matters. So first, there are great benefits to system consolidation and extending the Now platform. And the ServiceNow store gives you the ability to drop an app into your instance and have something running very quickly. So for example, Platcore is usually up and running in about an hour. And secondly, the Now platform is uniquely qualified at streamlining your workflows. It's connected throughout the enterprise and contains critical company and employee data. And as a native application, you have direct access to this data and functionality. So this allows us to create some pretty incredible automations as well as reports, and we look forward to showing you a few of those today. And finally, the employee experience is a huge driver of growth, and training can be instrumental in decreasing menial tasks and improving learner outcomes. So all right, that's just a little bit about us. So let's get started on our topic today, learning metrics that matter. So learning metrics, or any metrics for that matter, are frankly difficult to get. Everybody wants them, from executives to managers to individual contributors. So today we'll outline an approach to getting these metrics and being able to drive your learning programs with these metrics and data. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about the what. So identifying the what and how it aligns with the organizational goals and objectives will be the first challenge to overcome. And getting this well defined and understood will allow your metrics to be relevant to others in the organization and to measure what they actually care about. And second, we'll talk a little bit about the how. So how can you deliver these metrics in a repeatable manner can lay the foundation to help get you started. And third, we'll talk about maintaining your data. So we'll talk about a little bit about governance and ensuring your information continues to be a valuable asset into the future. So managing your data will increase the trust you have in your data, allowing you to make confident and more informed decisions. And finally, we'll show you a few ways to get started. Now, this work can be daunting, and we hope to give you some of the tools that are going to make this process easier for you. And with that agenda, let's look at why learning metrics do actually matter. So here are just a few of the metrics of why learning itself matters. So over 90% of executives are worried that their employees don't have the skills they need. And as learning professionals, we have the ability to help develop these skills and ease that pain. And over 6.7 million jobs are available, but people don't have the skills to perform them. So learning can help ensure people's skills stay relevant in that ever-changing economic environment. And lastly, 65% of children will have jobs that don't even exist today. And our work is to help them develop the new skills that will be needed. And what's even more exciting is predicting what those jobs and skills will even be. Now, it's undeniable that learning will take an increasingly central role in helping companies keep up with rapid growth and change. And we have the exciting role of being able to prepare people for jobs they weren't even aware that they need yet. So training is playing a critical role in developing and maintaining your company's intellectual property. According to Brandon Hall, 71% of organizations say that learning and development opportunities are the most important factor in attracting and retaining talent. So think about your organization for a minute. Does this stat resonate with you? And for us, it certainly does. Now, effective onboarding plays a critical role in the performance of new hires. And according to Forbes, companies with a comprehensive onboarding program are able to ramp performance 35% faster. So getting new employees up to speed faster means a faster time to value for those employees, and that translates to dollars. So learning programs help make that possible. Now I enjoy this stat. Only 25% of companies rely on data to decide which learning programs are effective. And what this really says is that 75% of companies rely on gut feel, intuition, opinions, and ultimately guesses to guide their learning programs. Now, I hope you're with us today because you'd rather be part of the 25 versus the 75. So in a minute, we'll dive a little bit more into the fun of dashboards, reports, and much more. But first, let's talk about the hardest work in the process. We know that learning and development is important, and it can directly link to improved performance when learning data is not being used effectively. But why isn't this happening? Well, one problem is that we really don't know what we should be tracking. And this is not easy, and frankly, it requires communication between your learning, HR, and executive teams. And doing this legwork makes everything easier in the future. But failure to communicate and find agreement will land you back in the pile of the 75% of organizations that guess about how they want to run their learning programs. So what should we track? First, we need to measure things that align. So do the background work to better understand your organizational, HR, and learning goals, and then create those direct linkages from measures you track to measures your leaders care about. You'll also be defining these outcome-based learning measures that support those overall objectives. And most importantly, confirm that your learning goals, in fact, do align. So yep, you're gonna need to go talk to some people. Next, we wanna measure the outcome. Outcomes help identify that your learning program is having the desired effect. It also enables you to communicate the value that you bring to that organization. So here you'll investigate what data is available, where it lives, and who owns it. And yep, you now get to go talk to people and confirm your metrics are a good gauge for your learning program success. And finally, measure the process. Process measures provide those diagnostics about your learning program operations. And here you can quickly adjust your program based on these. So these are also going to provide that real-time data to make course corrections to your learning program, which helps you achieve those outcomes that you desire. So here are a few questions to help drive those outcomes. First, you need to understand your organizational goals. In short, you need to understand what your executives are focused on. So what training outcomes are most important to them, and how can learning support these goals? And what one thing is most important to them? And notice there's a key theme here. The focus is on others, not on the learning program specifically. It's critical to understand others' needs, and then you'll be able to align effectively to those. And next, you need to measure the outcome. So what company pain points does training address? And what efficiency does training even create? Now here you'll be able to bridge the gap between your organizational goals and your learning program goals. And next, what's inside the process? Does our training have the impact we anticipated? And does this impact align with corporate goals? So here you get to focus more internally as you strive to achieve the outcomes you want. Now with these questions, you get the opportunity to frame the discussion and build the alignment in your organization. I also have one other key point that really matters. As you're creating this alignment between your executive goals and your learning goals, be sure to communicate in the same language of your executive team. Now this will help buy you additional credibility and help you understand how to use their language in your reports and metrics later. In short, your credibility goes up and you're going to spend less time explaining your metrics as you report on those. So now after we've found some alignment with our goals, it's now time to consider how are we going to track these goals? How are we going to align our reports and data to them? And do we understand what data we have available? Do we even know where it exists? And also, how can we ensure that our reports communicate in a language that others are going to understand? So let's go ahead and get started. So our first step is to inventory our data. We're going to begin by creating a catalog of information so you know exactly where your data lives. We need to identify this data and where it is as far as location or system is for our information. We can then evaluate the data integrity and the confidence we have in our data, and we'll also figure out who owns that data. And this person is going to become critical later when governance and maintenance of that data is discussed. Now I have a quick warning for you. It's really easy to want to inventory all data available. Rather than data hoarding, focus on data items that are going to matter most to you. And it's easy to boil the ocean here, but you'll be perpetually cataloging data. So focus on what matters and get 80% of the way to perfect, and then be done. I mean, you'll always be able to catalog more later, but it's more important to get that foundation laid and just get started. So many learning management systems offer out-of-the-box reports. And this shows what we've created at Platform to help our customers evaluate their training. If you don't have an LMS, this is one of the most important benefits of LMSs in general. But in a minute, we'll look at how you can evaluate your list of reports and to find alignment with the larger organizational goals. So these pre-built reports do give you a head start on your data catalog. You can see reports and data covering courses or learning plans, instructor-led events, certifications, assignments, costs, and much more. And they'll also help you bring information to your team managers and help them operationalize learning for their teams. And as a native ServiceNow application, Platform also allows you to leverage a ServiceNow reporting engine across all of the data in your system for nearly limitless reporting opportunities. And this means anybody can create their own reports and real-time dashboards. And we've seen our customers doing some very exciting things when they use these pre-built reports as well as the native data. So today we're going to talk about 3 very common executive goals, and these can make or break your company and have a direct impact on the bottom line. We'll also go through the metrics that tie into these larger goals and to show the training's influence. Now, the first example we're going to talk about is employee retention. Now, this can be an HR-focused goal, but as we've mentioned before, 71% of organizations say learning and development opportunities are the most important factor in attracting and retaining talent. Employee turnover is also one of the most costly things customers or companies experience. Hence, success can be tied directly to learning and development. And next is operational efficiency, which often manifests itself in either gross profit, budget efficiency, or time wasted metrics. Now, these metrics can help show an increase in the efficiency for training programs, as well as show how we're using training to increase the overall effectiveness of our employees. And lastly, we'll talk about compliance risk or risk mitigation. This is one of the trickiest metrics to measure, but that can mean the most in our ever-increasing regulatory environments. So before I jump in how to track these specific goals, let's talk about one thing they all have in common. These goals all require alignment between executive, managerial, and operational objectives. So in short, you need to create alignment with others. And this is not to say that you won't have internal operational metrics you're going to want to measure, because you will. I just hope you want to consider that alignment when defining and socializing your metrics with others. So first, let's talk a little bit about employee retention. This may be one of the most common organizational goals because it's so important to the health of your company. This goal may begin focused on reducing turnover, which is often a large expense for recruiting, retraining, and getting productive again. Your company may also have employee SAT goals, which may be part of an employee engagement initiative. They may also have goals around maintaining a skilled workforce and want to ensure their workforce is skilled appropriately. HR may want new hires onboarded as quickly as possible. They may track how well training programs are producing the results by how much assistance they have to provide new hires. These types of goals can also be directly tied to review outcomes for cost savings to HR, or training goals can support those executives, and HR goals are then tied to revenue or expenses as appropriate. The L&D goals may be measuring the velocity employees are completing their training. You can also easily measure how employees perceive training quality through reviews and ratings. Now, these are just a few examples, and I'm sure we could all think of more retention metrics that you'd like to get your hands on in your own organization. So the next goal we'll be working through is operational efficiency. Now, this goal is often tied to gross profit or some other expense line or finance metric that an executive may be responsible for. No matter what the executive metric, however, it's important to understand what they're really looking at and try to align metrics you report with those goals through alignment with HR goals. So the HR operational goals may be things like maximizing your training budgets, which are never big enough and get cut far too often. They may also be concerned about the skill in their workforce. They may also be interested in reducing the cost of training, and perhaps they're even pushing e-learning as of possibly virtual instructor-led training, such as ILT webinars. And this can reduce travel costs for training, which reduces the cost per class and maximizes your budget. So for learning and development goals, if those training metrics align to those specific areas that others care about, you're going to be more effective in defending your budgets or showing the impact of potential reductions. Now let's also talk through another goal for compliance risk. Compliance risk is critical to executives in that these can have a dramatic impact on their business and even their personal lives and reputations. So I hope you got your attention, and yes, while a specific goal is to stay out of jail, there are some items that can be dire, such as SOX. There are also other severely business impacting regulations such as GDPR. But in short, compliance risk is important and something that your executives care about. And each company's risk tolerance varies, so confirm this with your executive team. So HR goals may be linked to certifications and skills to do their jobs. They may be also interested in expired certifications and how to get people certified, hence skills in order to do those jobs. Now, learning and development goals may be focused on ensuring the employees are trained and certified. And you may also be asked to drive organizational certification numbers from your learning and development program. So hopefully you have a few new ideas on what goals to track and how to track data to those goals. But now let's talk about how we're going to maintain that data. And as we do make some important decisions with that data, what process can we use to ensure that our data is reliable? And how, most importantly, do we continue to have clean, consistent, and trustworthy data going forward? So here are just a few tips to help you maintain the best possible data set. So let's start with governance. So governance is a really large topic, and I'm not expecting to do it justice in a brief session, but I do hope you walk away with a few new ideas and tips. So standards establish what data will be used for. It'll also help us describe the criteria for the data itself, and these conventions will help maintain the consistency of data elements, such as how courses are numbered, or how properties of courses and that information is to be used. Next, we can talk about taxonomy. And this is a fancy word to talk about how data is organized inside your learning solution. It can also help you describe how courses inside your catalog are organized, including the structure and the categories. Now, most LMSs are external solutions that require configuration management. So what I mean by that is just it has integrations into other solutions to maintain that data. So your data integrity can rely on your understanding of how those integrations between your systems are configured and maintained. Now, most of the time, this is overlooked and can create data issues as well as large unexpected expenses. So as a native ServiceNow solution, Platform does provide a compelling alternative to those external LMS systems. So for those integrations, we want to develop a cadence to keep performing housekeeping on an ongoing basis. Now here you'll want to go back to your data inventory and understand who is ultimately responsible for that data housekeeping and maintenance. And then lastly, governance is provided under the umbrella of people who represent the organization and have a wide range of stakeholders. Now, it's important to understand that your learning metrics comprise a series of data. Now this data, when maintained, will inform your objectives and be an important communication tool in your arsenal. Now, data can easily fall into disarray and lead you in the wrong direction, ultimately requiring cleanup projects to ensure accurate metrics. But if you maintain your data from the start to ensure you don't have to go through that pain of completed projects or cleanup projects, you'll be more successful in the future. Now, with the governance side out of the way, let's briefly talk about in-platform solutions that leverage existing data. And we believe that the in-platform solutions help drive significant value for you and help you maximize the value of your current solutions. We get to see the value of leveraging the ServiceNow platform with Platform every single day. And we believe that the platform-based solutions really enable real-time solutions with the data that we're actually confident in. And we've seen others see that value in the real-time data and effortless decisions that are generated from that data. And we believe that native data actually helps enable faster data-driven actions. We've seen others leverage native data and how this approach makes governance easier as well. And also we believe that solutions leveraging platform security inherently reduce risk and costs. And Platform has had a front row seat while others are leveraging the Now platform to ensure their data is secure, reducing both client risk and expense. So finally, a section we've all been waiting for. So how do you actually get started? Well, let's take a moment to acknowledge that getting started is hard. And because there are so many options available, choices and what to measure are everywhere. And even though we've spent brain cycles on what we do want to track, inventorying our data, and understanding how we can maintain that data in the future, the most important thing to realize is that these metrics and reporting is more of a process than an event. So we do have a few ways to make getting started easier though. So there are many approaches to beginning reporting. And regardless, the most important thing is to find the most appropriate starting point for your organization and team. And we do have a few successful approaches we found to be useful. First, find the low-hanging fruit. The out-of-the-box reports are certainly a great place to start. And assuming you already have some reliable data integrity, you can start generating reports based on what already exists. And to get there with just a few quick wins, start with the out-of-the-box stuff you already have. Next, think about what do others care about? In other words, seek organizational alignment. And this provides additional direction for your metrics and communication strategy. So make sure your alignment exercises do ultimately provide data reports and information. And this will increase your credibility as well as your momentum. And lastly, to begin building new reports and dashboards, evaluate your current data inventory. Identify what is truly crucial to uncover, and consider if you can report on that information consistently and reliably. So let's dive into our examples again and see some of our final reports and dashboards and what they might look like. We'll also look at some of the out-of-the-box features that can be extended and configured to meet your specific needs. So I'm going to hit these quickly, so we can jump back later if you want to dive in a little bit deeper at the end of the presentation. So remember our goal of employee retention. This is just one example of a report that ties to that employee retention goal we discussed earlier. Now this is an out-of-the-box report that shows learner feedback. This allows you to see courses based on user review. You can also use this exact report to keep an eye on courses people do not like or are not being reviewed positively. So Platform's reports also allow you to drill down a bit into the exact records making up the report. And this gives you the summary data in detail that make up that data available, but they do it in a very simple mouse click. So with the detail that you can understand who owns that course and have them take immediate action based on that data. You can also even schedule a report, perhaps every Monday, to be sent directly to the course owner with his or her course ratings and who is taking that course. So operational efficiency now also relates directly to money and budgets. Your budgets are often set on a department level and in some cases at an employee level. So with this learner spend report you see here on the left, you now have immediate visibility into where your budget is going. This report can even be set by manager or department, so you have more visibility into your actual training costs. Also, as an organizational leader, this helps you set targets for spend to proactively measure and manage and reconcile your training costs. Also in operational efficiency, you do want to keep control and maximize your budgets. So perhaps a driving goal is to move your learning program to be primarily web-based or virtual instructor-led courses. This can help companies minimize travel costs and keep the majority of your learning budgets focused on actual learning courses versus costs, just to get an employee to the course. So in the report on the right, we now have visibility into the percentage of e-learning courses versus in-person or instructor-led training courses. And now we can see that 85% of them are web-based. The next step might be to track learner outcomes based on the course type, and as this might determine how you choose to offer your training. So for the goal of operational efficiency and compliance, this certification by user report helps you track those certifications. So in this report, we've color-coded red or green just to be able to take immediate action. We even have the manager listed so appropriate follow-up can be made. So providing this information can be part of your performance management process as well. So the report on the top right shows you how many certifications are active. And it looks like there might be some work to do, as only 45% are active, while 55% have expired. So having this real-time data that you can actually drill down to and provide actionable insights, that can help prevent you from having to go see why your staff certifications are expired, because you can actually be proactive in the management of that certification. So Platform also provides automatic certification management just to help your teams with this exact problem as well. So these are just some of the reports that are either out of the box or configured slightly to meet specific needs. So everything you've seen can also be scheduled for repeatable, consistent reporting. And I know many of you have reporting people or teams to generate these types of reports from either spreadsheets, multiple systems, or even other approaches. And I've done that in my career too. But if you can get your reports defined and delivered in Platform, the extra work is minimal, and most importantly, it's automated. So in addition to all those individual reports that are available, Platform also has some built-in dashboards to bring all that information into a single page for real-time actionable information. We are also able to tailor some of those dashboards to 4 specific out-of-the-box roles we have. So you can assign these roles to specific people, helping distribute the responsibility for learning, as well as some of the reporting responsibility too. So the content role is really for people who are creating, maintaining, and ultimately the effectiveness of their course material. The instructor role is really for people who manage instructor-led events, rosters, and waitlists, and things like that. And the learning administrative role is for people who manage that entire learning solution. So a slightly different role is for the team manager. With this role, you can distribute learning to team leaders, and they will have direct visibility into their own team's learning. They now actually have operational control of their learning and development and can take ownership of that versus relying on the learning team directly. So with those 4 roles defined, we can now combine reports into a single page view. So let's just dive into those dashboards and see what those look like. So the dashboard you see here is for content creators. They can now understand the scope of their work. They can see how many courses, learning objects, and quizzes they manage. They can also see how users are rating their courses. And all of this information is in Platform and is current up to the minute. What's also cool about this is that all of our dashboards can be configured for your specific needs. So other reports can be incorporated to allow a solution designed specifically for your content creators and how they like to work. We also have a dashboard designed specifically for instructors. So this dashboard is very operational focused. These metrics also help an instructor understand the workload they manage, such as the number of events, registrations, waitlists, rosters, etc., and all the data that they may need, including marking an attendee complete for a course, can be done from this dashboard. And this not only makes metrics and data useful from a summary perspective, but also makes the instructor's life better, as they can now more easily manage courses and events from one page. So the learning administrative dashboard you see here shows an overview of everything happening in your organization related to learning. So you get visibility into a wide range of metrics, but most importantly, they tend to be your course registrations, what is overdue, courses completed, as well as approvals that are pending. So this dashboard has information that you can use to communicate the value and the impact of your learning program. So with these simple metrics, you can also drill down to the specific data to take action. For instance, if you drill down to the overdue number, you'll have specifically who's late in their assignments, and then you can take some type of action to actually rectify the situation. Now, we often hear that learning admins don't have the data that they need, And we're proud to have been able to bring that added visibility to learning data for your learning admin teams. We also have another operational dashboard that isn't really focused only on learning teams. We heard from our clients that distributing learning is important, and it is not only the goal of the learning and development teams, but it's also a key objective for management, who is ultimately responsible for the learning inside their organization. So we solved that problem with our team manager dashboard. Management now has the operational insights in their team learning objectives and how they are working towards that goal. And just like your learning admin dashboard, a team manager dashboard has the visibility into their team's registrations, as well as things that are overdue or completed, and things that are needing their approval. So this visibility allows management to take action within their organization and really ensure their teams stay certified and compliant, and most importantly, ensure their teams are growing and developing. So now that you've seen the out-of-the-box dashboards and roles, let's talk about how you can customize your data to meet your specific goals. Now this dashboard is something we put together which really focuses just on certifications. And a few of the key metrics to put in place include the percent of compliance complete, which you remember from an early report example that we talked about. You can also have the number of expired certifications visible. You can even look at the percentage of certs nearing expiration, and you can take action on those before they expire. So while we're looking at a certification-focused dashboard, other organizations have created customer dashboards to help them manage like learning program financials and other items. And frankly, your imagination is really only your limitation. There are a few other items that are helpful here, but the key point is this. Your organization has specific things they want to track and measure, and you want to ensure that your dashboards align to those and then provide the information that is relevant to the people looking at your metrics, data, and insights. So we've covered a lot of ground today, and we were able to go through a little bit about what you could track and how you can create alignment with our metrics. We discussed how you can track metrics and inventory your data. We talked about ways that you can maintain data, including governance and ensuring your data stays trustworthy. And we also talked about where you can start, including really focusing on the low-hanging fruit and some important dashboard examples. So I'll leave you with this quote, which also relates to learning and development initiatives. The 90% of the failed HR initiatives did not identify the right measures for success and manage their program against those metrics. Respondents recognized that succeeding in this area is part of an unprecedented opportunity for HR to move from its traditional instinctive, intuitive function to a data-driven, fact-based decision-making function that often offers better decision insights and improved decision-making. So this is my hope for you, that we've helped you move a little bit farther towards better fact-based decision-making in your training. And with that, I'd like to thank each of you for attending today. And I'm glad we've been able to share a bit of information with you. And I hope that you've got at least one nugget that you can take back from your day jobs and use. And I know this is an investment in your time, and I'm definitely glad you chose to share some of that with us. So thanks again for that. So at this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, and you can enter those in the chat box. I will say we had a wide variety of people register for this event, so we'll keep the content pretty general. But if you have more technical or specific questions, I'd be happy to answer those now, or we can also schedule a follow-up to talk more about your company's unique needs. So Lauren, are there any questions?
No, I don't see any questions at this time.
No worries. As a reminder, we'll also send out this recording after the event. And with that, I'd like to thank each of you for spending a little time with us, and we definitely greatly appreciate it. And we look forward to that and look forward to what you do regarding metrics and training. So thank you very much.